Hi, Steve. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Jason.
Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
Harry, thanks for joining us, by the way. Appreciate it.
Of course, thanks for having me. Glad to be helpful. Hopefully useful too.
Carrie and Steve, have you met?
Not.
So,
No,
Steve is one of our board members, and Carrie is the shared services. Is it coordinator? Is that the right term?
So the DPH title, what they call is everybody has to have a coordinator. I'm a program manager, but everybody has to have a coordinator. So they're both right. But yes, yes. So I'm managing the shared services program, the Charles River Health District. And I'm also managing the training hub that supports the Charles River Health District and 4 other shared services arrangements in the state. So nice to meet you,
I'll
Steve.
do.
I just heard that there was a Needham, I got an email for a Needham planning meeting for weather for tomorrow night. Is that something that I just checked the forecast and realized there's supposed to be really high winds and rain. I know Needham's had some trouble with flooding in some past storms. Is that a concern in Dover?
No, Eversource sent out a warning.
Say that again,
Heads up.
Steve.
Eversource sent out a heads up
Yeah.
about tomorrow evening.
It
But-
caught me off guard.
Do you live in Needham, Carrie?
I do not, because I'm a Needham employee. I get the messages about it. I actually live north. I live in Reading. That's where I'm on the Board of Health in Reading. So,
Great.
one of the things that suits me for this work, I hope. I think so. I think it helps with, understanding the needs and concerns for the different departments and towns.
So, John Quackenbush texted me to say that he's going to be late, so we should go ahead and start without him, and it's 6:31. Is Priscilla joining us, or is she going to do the minutes from the recording, Jason? Do you know?
Scylla is still on vacation technically, so she will not be joining us.
Okay, all right, so why don't we begin? We are recording. So I'll call the meeting to order. It's 6:32. Let's do a roll call. Kay Peterson, Chair, present.
Stephen Kruskal, member, present.
Okay, here we go. So so we have Ron Tiberius here. Is he Jason?
Ron's here for the 3 Claybrook Road septic approval.
Okay. So we don't have any citizens here to provide citizen comments, so let's move ahead. Our next meeting will be February 5th. That's fine with you, Steve. It's fine with me.
Yes.
Okay, Jason, that's good for you too?
Yes. Yep.
Great. So why don't we do 3 Claybrook Road first and then do the minutes afterwards so that Ron doesn't have to wait as we go through those. Jason, you want to talk about that property?
Sure. Let me share my screen if I can. All right, so 3 Claybrook Road. So this is kind of an interesting one. This is actually the first septic plan we've gotten related to an accessory dwelling unit. And if the group was not aware, this did officially go into effect a few weeks back. So we're going to start seeing a lot more of these. This particular property is unique in that it will have 2 systems on it. It actually traditionally always has since it's been there. You'll see if I can actually show you on this plan. So there's an existing system in the backyard. And there was at one time a system in the front yard as well. So this proposed system is going to end up going in the front yard. I'm not sure this old system is still there, but obviously anything remaining would have to be abandoned as part of this project. As far as the design itself, I really don't have any concerns. Let me see if I can pull up page 2 so I can show you guys some more of the details. So this is a pump system. They are, in this case, actually pumping to the septic tank itself. 1,500 gallon tank to a D box out to a leaching area. It is only a 2-bedroom design, so I believe we will technically have to deed restrict this one just because the minimum design is 3 bedrooms. So that was my plan for this one anyway.
Well, so this is for the ADU, this septic system, or is this for that main house?
Correct. Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have specified. Yes. So this proposed system is just for the accessory dwelling unit.
And-
So the actual house is 5 bedrooms, which is what this rear septic system is designed for. So this proposed accessory dwelling will be 2 bedrooms. So it'll be this particular system you can see on the right-hand side here, 2-bed design. So yeah, like I said, I really don't have a whole lot of concerns with this one. We just since it is an accessory dwelling unit, Steve, go ahead.
Does the installation of the new unit trigger an automatic inspection of the old unit?
That's a good question. No. So as I was saying, since this is an accessory dwelling unit, there are a few other things we'll have to make sure of. One of which being water, of course. We'll need to make sure that the entire property meets their, the well quantity requirements. So they will have to get a pump test as part of this. And, of course, submit any building permits or things of that nature and, get planning or approval from planning. But other than that, I mean, the septic design itself, I really don't have any concerns or questions on, and Ron is on, of course, if the board has any questions, but I do not.
So this will be a 2-bedroom ADU, but under the 900 square feet limit. I assume, not that that's,
I mean, honestly, that I don't know. I mean, that's something planning would have to verify. That's not our purview.
right.
And Ron, actually, if you're on and don't mind speaking to it, I don't believe this is. I can of course double check, but I don't believe this is a scenario that would trigger an inspection for the existing system. I don't know if that's something you know of.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I mean, if it needs to be done, it wouldn't be a problem, but there's nothing I can think of that would trigger it.
And did you have any thoughts on the 2-bed deed restriction? I know it's kind of wonky because it's 2 systems on this lot, but I think it still makes sense to do it in this scenario.
Which is fine, as long as I would imagine it's specifically, the deed restriction is towards the
Right.
ADU. Yeah, I mean, it's just a function of verbiage, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Questions from the board?
I don't have any at this point. Steve, how about you?
None further.
Great.
Okay, So, shall we, are we ready to have a motion? I think so, right? Steve, do you want to make a motion about this?
I motion that we approve this plan as Jason has presented it. And I'm sure you can supply the numerical value of it, which I can't see.
And the date of the plan?
No.
Is that what you meant? Steve?
I can't see that stuff, so.
I can't either.
It's cut off in the scan, but I believe it's August 9th, 2023.
Okay, we'll add that to the motion, please.
All right, second. So all set with that then.
Yeah, and actually the reason it's, if you're curious, it's an August date because I've had this one for a while. I actually was basically just hanging on to it until the ADU stuff went into effect. So appreciate Ron and this homeowner having a little patience on this particular one, because you know, been sitting on it for a little while. So
Not a
Jason,
problem. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, everyone.
thanks,
You're
Ron.
Yep.
Thanks for coming. Jason, are you aware of others in the pipeline from our perspective?
I mean, nothing official other than this one, but I mean, the second the talks of the ADU stuff even came up, you know, we started getting all kinds of questions and inquiries. So, like I said at the beginning of it there, we're going to start seeing a lot more of these. So just, you know, prepare yourselves. Name of the game for us will be, you know, making sure septic flow and everything is sufficient, and of course making sure water is sufficient. So that's what we'll do.
So I think that there is debate about whether there will be a lot of these or not. I think some communities that have started allowing ADUs have not seen a significant increase in the number. I mean, fairly trivial numbers, but it certainly seems as if there could be quite a few.
Yeah, and I mean, in this case too, this gentleman already has this structure on his property. He's just, you know, turning it into one of these accessory dwellings,
Yeah.
which I think is what we'll see a lot. You know, not necessarily a brand spanking new build somewhere on the property. It's going to be something that's already existing and wanting to convert it to a living space. So
So the in-laws can move into the chicken coop. Yeah.
yep, for sure.
Okay. So should we move on? Should we go to minutes and?
Yeah, or if you want to go to
yeah,
Carrie, we can do that
yeah,
too. just
let's
'cause-
do that rather than torture her and making her listen to what we do. Jason, do you want, Carrie, do you want to introduce yourself and the topic? And go ahead.
Sure, thank you. And I'm one of those people, I don't find it torture. But thank you. I appreciate the time on the agenda. So I'm here tonight to talk specifically about Train MA, which is is a learning management system. It's the platform for accessing online training and to register for classroom trainings that has been rolled out by the state. And I believe, I hope all three of you have received an email from a Mass DPH account telling you that you have a Train MA account to go and access and activate. The reason for that is the state went ahead and used, you know, the records we have of health department employees and Board of Health members for all the communities, so that they could do a batch upload and spare many individuals, all 351 communities, from creating these accounts. Train MA actually will replace the LPHI access point. So if folks have been taking courses on the local Public Health Institute, that program is being sunsetted, and I believe that it will continue to be available at the LPHI BU site through the end of March of 2024. All of the trainings on LPHI are being migrated over to Train MA. They will continue to be available after LPHI sunsets. It's recommended that if you've taken anything from LPHI, if you've taken foundations, if you've taken any of those individual trainings, it's recommended that you go back in and get your certificates, because they are, the migration process is supposed to migrate over the certificates and the records of completion, but we've been cautioned a couple times that that's not a guarantee. I'm not familiar exactly with the behind the scenes logistics of why that's the case. But so if you do have an LPHI account, if you could go on and, you know, just print the records. And the reason that you'd want to do that is that if you've already taken something, and you have the certificate or the proof that you took it, then you don't have to take it again. Absent the record that you took it, you know, it's on the, then it would appear on the list that you say, well, they never took foundations course. So, it's worth, I think, a few minutes just to go back and pull that information. And that would be for everybody. That would be for Board of Health members and for staff. So on Train MA, you'll see both the LPHI created trainings, and then also that will be the place ultimately where you'll be able to register for the just about released MAFIT food and housing trainings. MAFIT stands for Massachusetts Public Health Intensive Training. And there are the central trainers and at the DPH and DEP have been creating the curriculum and are just about ready to start offering those trainings for people. That's a classroom training. It'll be offered by the central trainers at the state. It is 3 half days. And there, for MAFIT food, there are 25 hours of co-requisites, we're calling them. So MAFIT food's required for anyone who does inspections, food inspections. And the co-requisites are mostly from the FDA site. So if you maybe have already done some FDA trainings, you might want to find the records for those too. But so now the rollout of train means it's tied together with the rollout of these MAFIT trainings, and the food one is the first one that's going to be available to the general workforce. Once it's available, folks can register. They'll take the 3 half days of classroom training, and then they'll be eligible for field training. And our field training hub will have 2 trainers who can provide that field training. It's 3 to 5 sessions is what we're anticipating for each individual. And the field trainings, there will be a small cohort that'll be groups of 3. So you can, if you imagine a funnel, anybody can take the self-paced online free co-requisites anytime they want. So big wide area. Then the classroom training is offered. They're saying they're going to offer it in groups of 30. So it's getting a little bit, the funnel's a little narrower. And then once you've completed the classroom training, then it's very narrow, because then we're going to be able to train folks kind of 3 at a time. We're still working out how many cohorts we can run at the same time. And, you know, we're going to come back and talk with each community about how can we help you do this? Can we help you work out a timeline for what's reasonable? Can we help you puzzle through, you know, who do you want to have trained first? All of those things. This is just kind of the, it's supposed to be a happy announcement. Yes, Kay.
So is the goal to train everyone in the state who's currently doing food inspections to have them have a uniform
Yes.
training and I don't know if there's an exam, but is there an exam? in the program?
I have not seen the curriculum yet, so I don't think so. I think it's just a matter of classroom time. There are sort of sessions, testing sessions within.
Yeah. How many
I've-
people, how many people in Massachusetts currently do food inspections, would you say?
At least, well, I mean, each community needs to have access to an inspector. Many communities have part-time inspectors, and many communities have more than one inspector. So you could certainly say there's 350. And there may be more, but it's a lot of people. And there are in some places, Board of Health members actually conduct inspections. So they don't have staff, but the Board of Health members are doing it. And it might be that they have multiple Board of Health members who are who they want to have trained, because they're all going to be doing the inspections. But yes, that's the objective. Exactly. Thank you, Kay. Is that everyone will be trained to the same standard, and we will come closer to the place where the inspection that gets conducted in Dover is like the inspection that gets conducted in Sherborne, and a business is not subjected to the vagaries of how different places interpret the code.
Yep.
So we think it's a real benefit. It's a benefit for the workforce, and it's a benefit for the customers. So that's the purpose. And then we'll do the same for housing, but housing will come out a little bit later. So
And
Yeah.
these will be required to do, correct, Carrie?
they're required for anyone who conducts an inspection.
Gotcha.
And there's possibility of a waiver. This is brand new. We were saying initially that no waivers for any inspection trainings, waivers for other kinds of training, but inspections, everyone needs to do them. There are some places that have gone gone ahead and gotten FDA certified, or using the retail standards. And there may be waivers for individuals who have done that. That's something the state's considering right now and working out. But generally speaking, if you're going to do a food inspection, you have to have the you will have to have this training. The timeline's still pretty generous. The state and the training hubs, we recognize that folks are doing full-time jobs and are busy, or working as much as they can. And there is not at this point you must do this by, say, June 30th of this year. It's a how can we phase this out? So I don't know, we're trying to balance the message of, yes, it's available and this is great, and we really want people to get kind of standardized but we're not going to do it all at once. That's not only going to be offered once. You don't have to get it and worry that you're not going to be allowed to have an inspector do inspections because they haven't had it yet. That's, we have a little bit of time. That's how I'll explain it. Any other questions?
Yes, and I'm assuming that the DPH covers the cost of this, that there's no cost. to
There
the
is no cost.
municipality.
Correct.
Great.
There's no cost for these trainings, and then the training hubs, what we're prepared to do is speak with, as I said, speaking with each community, and we'll help work out timelines if folks want that. We'll offer study groups. We're trying to identify what are for the co-requisites. If there are certain co-requisites that are challenging for people, we'll offer a study group, and we can, if that will mean that folks can move through it more quickly, that's our goal. So we are, those are just our initial thoughts, but we're very open to thinking creatively about how can we assist in making this work. And with the addition of on the shared services side, because there's a regional inspector, we think that might be a helpful piece as well, because there's another pair of hands that can be doing some inspection work to allow for time for studying. Yeah, that.
Okay.
Anything else?
So that'll be food, and then there'll be other trainings after that, obviously.
Correct.
All right.
Housing is next, and there's actually a housing refresher for people who have taken Maffitt housing previously, just because the housing code recently changed. But the housing training, I think we're probably looking at later, probably a late spring, I think would be is when it would be available, or they'd start accepting registrations. And that could change, but it's not imminent. But yes, then we'll go through the same process, and there'll be the classroom training. Everyone has the same training, same trainers, and then the field training conducted in the small groups by our field training staff. And we are fortunate to have we have two trainers. We have Sam Menard, who is our lead trainer, and then we've actually just made arrangements to hire a second individual who is an experienced trainer, has worked in industry and institutional on this at the state, and has trained individuals for moving out into the workforce. So we'll be well equipped to support the communities as best we can. And again, all of this no cost. And it's simply, and, we say it's like our colleagues in public safety and fire and Department of Public Works. There are standard trainings that we want everyone to have. We want everyone to be safe and, doing the best practices. And that's exactly what we're establishing for public health.
Great. I don't have any other questions. Anybody else? Steve? Jason?
Carrie, while we have you, I didn't know if there was any comments or anything that you had. Two other items on our agenda. One is the nurse and one is the shared agent. I didn't know if you just, since we have you here, I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add or anything you wanted to contribute to either one of those.
No, I'm delighted that we're at the position where y'all can have the shared agent, and I know that will be a helpful and useful resource for this community. I know that the agent is going to be doing as we've been talking about, connecting in with Sherburne as well, and we look forward to building the connections and figuring out how they can assist your community in getting all the work done. What's the best way to use them? And then I know I'm just excited to know that you're talking about the public health nurse. And I know that this has been something you all have been working on for a while, and appreciate Dover's commitment to making this work. Appreciate the fact that there's recognition of the need. We stand ready to support however you might need. I know that there's some approval processes within the town of Dover as the hiring community for that position. But we're ready to assist as you may need. And once your person is identified, then through shared services, we'll be able to assist with the onboarding and training process, much like we're doing with the regional public health nurse that we have recently added to staff. So we have a little training program and exposure checklist, and our regional public health nurse will be talking about ways to establish a public health nursing presence in town, and will support your person as we can.
Very good.
And I don't know, Kay, if there was anything you wanted to, is just general Charles River Health District update on there, or if there was anything you wanted me to touch on, or if you're happy with that.
I'm happy with this.
Okay, great.
And I don't know, do you want to talk about the MRC at all? Is there any news about that? I'm just thinking, I haven't heard anything about the MRC recently. Or is there any other topic that we haven't gone over today that there's news about?
Yeah, I mean, the intermunicipal agreement piece I know is moving. It's with Needham Town Council, and we'll move on to other communities.
Yeah.
MRC, I know that I know that there's been some shifts, with, staffing and coverage and, I do know actually that the MRPC, the Metro Region Preparedness Coalition, just hired, I think, someone who's going to be providing some more MRC coordination and support across all the regions. So I think that'll help with MRC engagement. I know it's been a big concern across all the towns as we move out of COVID and have eager volunteers. And how do we make sure we get them trained and keep them engaged, because their service to the community is invaluable. So I know that hire will make a big difference.
So in Dover, there's never, I don't think there's ever been an MRC. Has there, Steve? Are you aware? Was there once?
I believe Jerry participated in some of the activities of that.
I see.
I actually they just recently hired a new coordinator for our region. I actually just went to the first meeting today, so the whole thing it's being kind of rehashed. And Needham's actually part of a different group than we are, correct?
Correct. There are, in the Metro Region Preparedness Coalition, there are 7 MRC units. And I'm trying to remember, are you part of is Dover part of Middle Fork? Am I remembering that correctly, with Medfield as the lead community maybe? Or are you part of Metro West with Sudbury and Natick and others? It's okay.
Medfield is the lead community, because actually it was Brenda was one of the people who was leading everything.
Yes. So
is the term Region 4AB no longer relevant? Is that?
4AB exists. It will always exist, but I think for a variety of reasons, people like to say, it's Metro West. And then what happens? So there's a Metro East MRC, and that's 27 communities, I think. Then there's Metro East, there's Brookline. They have their own independent unit. There's Metro West, which is the Sudbury, Dover, no, sorry, you are Dover, Sudbury, Natick, Weston, and other communities. There's the Middle Fork, which is, what used to be 4A, the Public Health Group 4A, that MRC broke up into 3 groups. So maybe that's what you're remembering. That was led out of Framingham, that 4A, and that has been broken down into 3 groups. So there's Metro West, there's Middle Fork, and there is
don't worry about it. We'll learn.
Okay. Yeah, we're in the weeds with some of the name, but your group is Middle Fork, and I'm thrilled that there's a new coordinator. I've heard good things about that individual.
Okay. All right. Well, that's been helpful to have you come, Carrie, and
Happy to be here.
thanks for summarizing all this.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie. Appreciate you joining us.
You know where to find me if you have any questions and if I can be of support. Take good care. Nice to meet you, Steve.
See you, Carrie. Thanks.
Too.
Bye, Carrie. Okay, so shall we go back and start working on our minutes?
Please.
I wasn't able to print them, so I don't have them in front of me. Should we, Steve, should we display them and then go through them quickly? Does that make sense? Jason, do you want to put them up?
Oh boy, hang on. Let me see if I can pull them up. Should be able to. Because you guys both had corrections for this one, right?
I did. Did you, Steve, as well?
I did.
All right, so
All right.
just be sure we're both happy with this.
Can you guys see this?
Oh, good job.
Can you make that a little larger, Jay?
Should be able to. Better?
Yes, thank you.
Too bad we don't have John. He's a whiz with this.
You're pretty good. Don't minimize. Way better than I am.
Um, I mean, you guys want to read through the entirety of this, or what? How do you want to do this?
I think skim through the entirety because I can't remember where the changes were, so.
And I think that this is a later version, so if you guys already sent edits to Priscilla, they've already been reflected in what I'm showing you. So
Yeah. I have a suggestion. Steve, how about we read paragraph by paragraph and so I'm done with number 5, are you?
Yes,
So number 6 then, let's see. Okay, scroll down for me. Is that okay for you, Steve? Go down
Yes.
to next page. I'm ready for 16 Main Street. Steve, are you?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
number 7?
yeah. Is
Okay.
it proper to ask if any of this occurred?
Um,
it I can say it did. I don't know that there was a tremendous turnout. There was a few signups, I believe, but um but
Because I spoke to Moji at the transfer station. He said he indicated it was still in gestation.
when did you talk to him, Steve?
As recently as 10 days ago,
Uh,
8 days ago, 9 days ago.
Um,
So
So-
Oh,
I'm just curious if I was misunderstanding him or this had occurred or had not occurred.
so I know that, so Woody, my husband, went on whatever date it was in December.
Okay, so it did occur.
yeah, I mean, I don't know that calling it a clinic is really the correct term. It was really just, John created the sign up and they blocked off a few hours specifically for Dover residents. So if he joins us, certainly I'm sure he could speak to it better than I could. You guys all set on this one? You want me to scroll down?
Yeah.
Yep, scroll down.
All right, I'm not sure what the crossed out portion is, but maybe you guys, I'm not sure.
I think we should just delete that.
Just everything in purple?
What do you think, Steve? Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Works for me.
I'm ready to move on.
Yep. She noted that perhaps this would be stoking and for.
Stoking potential interest? Could we change that? Something's missing there.
Yep.
Or we could just delete the whole paragraph.
That's good.
This whole thing right here where I have highlighted?
Yep,
Yep.
yep. And then I think I'd just delete the rest of the stuff. We weren't making any decisions. We weren't deliberating. It doesn't have to be in the minutes. It was
Oh,
our,
all the stuff in purple, just get rid of
yeah,
the yellow.
yep. And I would, everything that you see there that's part of number 8, I think could be deleted if Steve, you agree.
Yes.
All right, hang on. So all of this here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then number 9.
Okay.
I think just in a third paragraph there, that there doesn't have to be a question mark after the period.
Good catch.
Well, and can we talk a little bit just quickly about follow-up on this? Did Northeast Wells weigh in on this?
So I received an application, but nothing more. I haven't heard from Northeast about it. And as far as I know, Mr. Conrad has not notified his abutters. So until that's happened, I mean, it's not considered a complete application. So
Yeah,
whenever he's ready, we can move forward on that. I just, like I said in the last meeting, I just want to make sure Northeast is comfortable and is on the same page with doing this, proposed change.
yeah.
All right, are we
All right,
set
I'm
with
ready.
9 totally? We can go down to
Yeah.
10.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Seconded. Done.
Beautiful.
Great. All right. Now, is that process okay? That was Steve and me getting our comments back to Priscilla in time for her to,
Yeah, it was perfect. Like I said last meeting, I know we struggled here the last couple of months just trying to get caught up with the minutes, but now that we are caught up and only have to worry about the one set, I mean, should be relatively easy. So, I mean, the way we did it this month was perfect. They're
okay.
they're done. It took a couple minutes of the meeting and that was it. You move on.
Okay, great. All right, let's see. So, it looks like, going back to up the agenda, we still need number 6, 9 Buttercup Lane. You have an update about that, Jason?
Yeah, I spoke to McIntyre Engineering the other day just to get an update, because I hadn't really heard from them much. But so they're going through another conservation approval, and then we should be expecting a set of plans. So they're still on track. Basically, what they told me was, we're looking at a spring install at this point. So they're still moving along and progressing. So I've been happy overall with that one. Just we're going to keep it on the agenda month to month as an accountability type thing, and just make sure this thing gets done. So
Great. Well, that's a real success so far.
Don't count your chickens.
Okay. Seems to be a theme today. Okay, so the budget.
yeah, so budget, I know we had spoke about last meeting. We're pretty much wrapped up with it at this point. The only thing I need from you guys is I'll just need a signature on our final budget sheet, so we can actually turn it in, if you will. So I know typically at least the two of you guys, I know you're good to at least stop in the office once a week. So I should be at least be able to capture you two maybe this week, and then I'll just have to track down John at some point.
Okay. All right. Is there any old business people have?
What can I say a comment or two on the nurse and the shared agent?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So the nurse, just to give a quick update on that. So the job description has to be approved by the personnel board, so that'll be next Tuesday. From there, we should be able to finally post it, which will be great. But yeah, moving along. So my hope or the goal was to get it posted by the end of January, so we should be able to hopefully do that and move forward and start doing interviews, and we'll figure out how we're going to do that.
And the shared services group will pay for, the grant will pay for the posting, right? Because it's partly a shared position.
Yes, that is what they said. Correct.
Good.
And so the shared agent, so the two of you guys know, I sat on an interview panel maybe about, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. And I worked with the shared services group to hire a regional shared health agent. So one of her functions is going to be assisting Dover on anything we may need. It's pretty open and flexible. It's kind of up to us. Steve?
In your absence, will that person be able to assume a good share of your duties in the inspection realm?
Could they? Yes. They probably need a little more training when it comes to septic and wells and some of those miscellaneous things, but in terms of food and housing and those things, she's pretty experienced on that front. So one of the things I'm planning on doing with them is actually getting them more exposure to those other items I mentioned that they're not as familiar with. So because I mean, technically she is a Needham employee. She was already working in Needham part-time before she took over this position. they have almost no septic there, so she just, doesn't have a lot of exposure. But that's, that's one of my hopes, is I kind of want to take her under my wing and help her out with some of that, just so she could step in one of those situations if I'm ever, gone, or whatever the case may be. So
That's our fallback right now if you're unavailable.
what's our fallback right now?
Yes.
It's a good question.
Hunting. I mean, we don't have a fallback. I suppose we could ask Mike whether he could help us out.
That is one possibility, as long as Mike is around and available. But it might behoove us to train that person up, the shared agent, to do those sorts of things which are key to us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I agree. So that'll can certainly be one thing we can focus on. But so right now, I guess my plan for her, kind of, I guess, low hanging fruit for us would be helping out a little bit with food inspections. We obviously don't have a ton of places, but even that being the case, you guys know how busy things can get for me day to day. So even just having her be able to assist and do some of those foods, just, sometimes it can be tough for me to break away. I mean, I think that would be a big help. So my plan kind of was to just, at least for now, just give her a few places she could knock out for us and get done. So we're, fully up to speed and caught up on all those. And to Steve's point too, once that's done, maybe having her shadow doing septic reviews with me and coming out to inspections and getting her feet wet in some well stuff and things of that nature, just so she could potentially step in should I'm ever gone or anything like that.
Mhm. And do you think there's a point to her doing some training with septic and wells in Sherburne as well, given that their regs are somewhat different from ours?
Yeah, certainly. The truth is, Sherborne has to offer her the opportunity, though, and I don't know that that's happening.
Yeah, and Mark is an hour, I mean, he's a contract employee, right? He's not
Yeah,
salary.
he's not there full time like I am, so it's
It's harder.
I can't speak to them. So I don't know if it's as easy as her just reaching out to Sherborne
Yeah,
and just automatically setting up a time.
it
So
might make sense for you to talk to somebody. I don't know whether that would be Daryl or Mark, about whether, as you're training her, there are ways that you could educate her about Sherburne's regulations, for instance, just to make her aware of how all these communities differ from how their regs differ from Title V, basically.
Yep.
Medfield, I keep forgetting, Medfield does not have septic for the most part. Is it more like Needham or more like us?
they're probably
like us.
closer. Yeah, I want to say maybe they're 50-50.
Uh-huh. So they have a significant amount of septic, probably.
I would imagine, yeah.
And who's their who does their septic inspections now?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm saying too. We're lucky because I'm able to cover what we need done in Dover and still also be able to offer training opportunities to people like her, where I don't know that other abutting towns have that
Yeah.
luxury. So for all we know, I'm her only opportunity to get exposure to these things. So I'm certainly happy to do that. So that point of all this is we have this person at our disposal, and we can work with them and get them up to speed and have them help with whatever is needed. And there doesn't have to be a formal vote on or anything. I wanted you guys to know that and kind of understand and also give your blessing and say that, that of course is okay with you.
It's more than okay with me. I think it's a really great idea. I think it's great for Dover. I think it's great for the shared services group, and I also think it's good for you because I know you enjoy teaching and that working with other people that way. So I think it would be, I just think we should encourage you as much as possible to do that. Good. This is Thalia, right? Is that her name?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Not that I've met her, but I've heard the name. All right, good. So what else do people have? Steve, I drafted something about COVID treatment, about Paxlovid, because of the fact that very few people are using it relative to the number who probably should be.
The underutilization is startling.
Yes, it is. And there been a couple of studies published recently that showing that there's no greater risk of rebound after taking Paxlovid than not taking it.
Yeah.
And then there's something from in MMWR this past week about the hospitalization risk being about half for people who take Paxlovid. So I tried to do a little summary of that to put in the next town newsletter. So I'll submit that.
Can you put it on our website too?
Yeah, I think, can we do that, Jason? Is that easy?
Yeah, I just got to run it by the boss, the town clerk.
Yep. And maybe we could put it on Facebook. We ought to fix. Do you think we could do a little clip art on it, Jason? One or the other of us. I'm pretty bad at that stuff, but
Yeah, we could figure something out for sure.
yeah.
Are we is it something you want us to share with you, Steve, just to give it a look over? I know with anything like that, I always want to make sure to be careful, just because obviously you guys can speak to it far better than I could, being medical doctors. So I just want to make sure verbiage and everything is correct.
So run it by us. What you craft.
Well, so Kay already put something together. I'm just saying, did you want to
Sure, I'd like to take a
get
look
a
at
set
it.
of eyes on it before we?
Yeah, but she said all the right things, so I assume it's going to be fine.
Yep.
Wait till you see the clip art.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else? All right.
I am not to circle back on it, but the septic approval we looked at. I'm gonna do a little bit more digging on the system inspection that you had brought up, Steve. I think it could go either way. Certainly we can always require one if we see fit. So I'll see if I can do a little bit more due diligence on that. Doesn't necessarily need to be decided right today because, like I mentioned, there's going to be a lot of different approvals and stuff they're going to have to go through for this. So it's going to kind of be a long process. Usually a Title V inspection is something we would ask for at the time of the building permit. So I've yet to
Well,
receive that. So
Just take a look at the state verbiage as well as the town on accessory dwellings and see if anything refers to that.
we'll do. All right, 1 hour. Nice work, guys.
7:29.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Good
Be
night,
well.
everyone.
See you
Be
guys.
well,
Have a great
everybody.
night. Thank
See
you.
you, Steve. Bye.